Hello and welcome to the Greg Fearon podcast with your host, Greg Fearon. And today is part two with before I get told off,
the
I'm saying it again, the female empowerment coach, Hannah Watkins. Hey.
Hey, thank you so much.
I think we needed to jam after that part one. We talked about
definitely
things. So there was something that, and for the listeners, go back and listen to the previous episode because it's a gold mine, literally, of just processes.
Just dive right into that can of worms.
Yeah, and then come
head
back
first.
Yeah, share it first and then come back. But I want to talk about restriction.
Okay.
Because you mentioned it in the last podcast, and I just want to dive into it a little bit more about this. Like, in the world, it's kind of crazy that we have this thing where everyone wants everything.
Yeah.
Restriction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What's that about? Because you can't have that, right?
I hear so many people, especially those that want to lose weight. I mean, bear in mind, I think that we should first say that obviously you and I coach people largely to lose weight. That's a big part of what we do. Yep. But I don't know if you find the same. The principles that I know I teach with regards to weight loss, and I'm sure that you experience the same thing, they bleed out and they apply to everything, so like the weight loss coaching, whilst you're training someone and helping them to lose weight, it also improves so many other areas of their life as well. Yep. And I think this is the thing with restriction, because it's one of those applicable things, because so many people think restriction is a bad word, and that there's this feeling that you should not restrict yourself, that you should be able to live unrestricted, because somehow if you restrict yourself, it will cause you to then overdo it at some point down the line. So the answer is to not restrict yourself, which is ludicrous, in my opinion.
I nearly did a ludicrous, like, the rapper, I nearly did like a Luda. But I think you're right, because it's we make a joke of it, right? Of you can't have your cake and eat it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a jack of all trades and master of none. So we say it, but then defy the word restriction. Is it just because of the word, or is it something else?
I don't know. I think it's our association with it, because I mean, when I was a child back in the 80s, I was born in 1980. My first experience of like someone being on a diet was my own mum. She was on a diet. Back in the 80s, it was all about women should eat 1,000 calories a day, regardless of their height, weight, age, or any of those things. It was just a blanket applied number. It was 1,000 calories. That's what you had. You had meal replacement shakes, and that was my first experience of someone trying to lose weight by being on a diet, quote unquote, and having restriction. And I just remember looking at her doing that, just feeling so miserable, in this kind of way that she was going about things. And since the 80s, there was that was like the low fat brigade, wasn't it? And then there was the low carb brigade, and then it was let's do keto, and then it was let's do paleo and Atkins and all these other diets that have come and gone since then. And I think that we constantly look for the answer in these diets that keep coming and going, but none of these diets have thus far provided it. Yet that's where we keep looking. And the diet industry changes and evolves. And I think that as people lose faith or with one particular type, and the next fad diet comes in, it's really just because we've got bored of that one and we've realized that one isn't working. So, oh, look, there's a new shiny one that's on the horizon. And I think that what they all try and do is promise that you can have these amazing results effortlessly. You can have them you can have them comfortably. If you do our diet, you don't have to count anything. If you do our diet, you can have limitless this or unlimited that. This is free food, this is this food. And they all promise that the journey will be easy. And then when people realize that actually, no, it's not easy, and arguably neither should it be, that's when people get disheartened and quit, I think, in a lot of cases. I don't know. Do you find the same?
Well, I think we have got to this era of like, you can be and have everything. But that's not quite true. I think that's the big challenge for me is like you can't, I don't know, run a great business but always be up at every night watching Netflix. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work. Or at some point you're gonna break and burn out. Um,
Hmm.
by the same token, like you said, you can't expect to be really lean and look, I don't know, a certain body fat without maybe not eating so much chocolate. Like
Yeah, without doing the work that goes with it. You
yeah,
know, I think the problem with restriction, and I think that, there is evidence out there, and there are people that suggest that certain foods are addictive. Like there is a lot of evidence to suggest, and a lot of theories to suggest that perhaps sugar is addictive, and those kind of things. And I'm not saying whether it is or isn't, because that's not my bag. I'm just saying that those theories exist. But if it is true to say that we have these emotional attachments to food, which you could argue are addictions, what about if you were to apply the same logic to another addiction, for example, right? So if you do that, someone recovering from any other kind of addiction, the answer would be abstinence. Yeah. Say, for example, Greg, you're an alcoholic and you're recovering, right? Your alcohol recovery coach.
how did you know?
Hey, I've seen your Instagram. No, there is no point where they're ever going to tell you that, oh, okay, so for you to recover from your use of alcohol, you can have beer, but you can't have wine. You can have vodka, but you can't have brandy, right? They're going to tell you abstain from it. If you want to break this addiction, if you want to recover from this and be somebody who is not addicted to alcohol and overuses it, you've got to stop having it. That's restriction, surely.
No, but it's different. It's not the same. It's different. It's not the same. Sorry, I hear I hear that little thing on TikTok all the time. It's hilarious, but it's different. It's not the same.
I mean, the thing is, I very much think that restriction can be a really good thing if it comes from a place of, self-love and self-worth rather than punishment. You should never restrict to punish yourself. You should never restrict, I think, using willpower. But if you're restricting because you have the best interest for yourself in mind, then restriction can be a really good thing. I'm a mum of 3. My youngest is 4 years old. I restrict her behavior and her food intake all of the time. I don't let her run off without holding my hand, for example. It would be dangerous. Yeah. I restrict what she wants to eat because her little 4-year-old brain sees sweets and chocolate. I want all of those things for breakfast. We can't have all of those things for breakfast. That's not healthy. I've got your best interest in mind. So I steer her and guide her towards porridge with fruit in it, for example, or strawberries and yogurt, or, I don't know, whatever else. But all of that is arguably restriction, surely.
I'd agree. And I think this is the problem. Like the word diet, I feel sorry for the word diet. Like I feel really sorry for the word diet because it got picked on by everyone doing so this is the clever thing about fitness and nutrition marketing, right? Then there's a very clever saying in it, which is throw stones at their enemies. That's a idiom, isn't it? It's like a hard, fast rule. Throw stones at the enemy. So what's happened is that people have been told now diets were really bad. Throw stones, throw stones.
Yeah.
But what's happened then is people have this attachment with the word diet. And actually, the diet isn't the problem. It's actually how we feel about ourselves. It's a problem, not
exactly
the word diet.
Yeah. Well, the word diet exists. It's a circumstance and it's neutral until you apply a positive or negative meaning to it, But if I look at, for example, my own self, then, I'm talking purely about me, and then people can say whether that's applicable or not, or whether that resonates or not. I was a real emotional overeater, right? I used to binge eat all of the time. But if someone were to say to me, right, Hannah, if you want to lose weight, you need to restrict your food intake, right? And then someone else has the restriction argument and says to me, but if you restrict, that then causes you to binge. So the answer is not to restrict, right? Which is ludicrous. This is going back to the ludicrous thing again. So surely let's apply this again. I think we mentioned this last week. So let's apply this to alcohol use. Right? Now let's apply it to something that will really drive the message. I don't know if this is allowed for me to say it, but I'm going to say it, and we can delete it if not. Right? Let's say someone who is addicted to heroin, right? Okay, so you've got somebody who is taking heroin, consuming heroin, and somebody says to them, yeah, but did you notice that when you restrict your heroin, your body and your mind freak out and then you end up overdoing the heroin? So the answer surely is not to restrict the heroin and just do heroin like a normal person. Nobody's going to give that advice, but when it's food, that's the advice we're given. When you restrict, you then binge or overdo it. So the answer is not to restrict. But that's what's ludicrous. Surely the answer is, if restricting causes your brain or your body to freak out and for you to overeat, the answer is there.
Yes, in the brain. Yeah, get to the root.
Exactly. The answer is not, okay, well, restriction causes me to binge, so let's not restrict. The answer is, why does that cause me to binge? Let's figure out what's going on there. Let's figure out what emotional trigger is happening that's causing my brain to freak out. And then to carry on restricting, but to also deal with your emotional life, which is the thing that was making you restrict in the first place.
Because, yeah, you're right. Because none of this stuff is all, what's the word? Mechanical. That's the way I like to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
You got the mechanical side, right? You got macros, calories, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, all of this is emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do is emotional. So,
yeah.
And I think that's we both have a very similar practice, is that we don't work so much on the protein macros. Like, we do that. We know that stuff. I can count macros in my sleep.
Yeah.
I can show people. But actually, it's all about up here.
Sure. Literally everything that you do or don't do is because of how you think it will feel when you either do it or don't do it. Even if you're not even aware of that thinking. Because, I mean, we have something like 60,000 thoughts every day, and we're not aware of every single one of those. In fact, there are loads that we are not aware of. Yet those thoughts are still there, and they still trigger feelings.
Is that why my brain's so tired every day?
That's why
I'm done.
That's why your brain's so tired every day.
Got it.
So we will, even if we don't realize it, we will go and grab that bucket of Ben & Jerry's at the end of the night because we think it will make us feel better. Even if we're not aware of it, everything that we do or don't do is how we think it will, is because of how we think it will feel upon the doing or not doing of it, even if we don't realize.
And that's a great point to that, because a lot of people will say, I get a craving at a certain point of the day.
Yeah.
But we know that the craving isn't biological.
No, not at all.
No biological craving really for a food. Yeah, okay, we get hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's actually because we've just inbuilt the habit of, you have a screen, you eat food at the same time.
Sure, exactly. It's because we have literally programmed our ghrelin, and if you want to even look in, put the scientific names of things onto hormones and stuff, to ignite at that time. We think we eat 3 meals a day because we are reflecting what biology told us to do, but that's not necessarily the case. It's literally that we have we have decided that that's when we should eat, and that's when we're hungry.
So actually our environment is actually controlling us, not us controlling our environment. Is that what you're saying?
Personally, no.
Okay.
I don't think that external circumstances have any control over us. I think it's the way we think about those circumstances.
Yeah. But I guess it's that thing of, because here's a common one, I'm sure you get it. I have a treat cupboard and I'm sitting there watching Netflix, and I know and I'm like, why is there a treat cupboard? I don't get it.
Okay, let's just take a look at that and say, right, so what you're saying is in your treat cupboard, I'm going to guess, is like crisps, chocolate, all of the stuff that perhaps we want to be cutting down on if we're trying to lose weight, right?
The stuff we might want to restrict.
Yeah, the stuff we might want to be restricting. How is it a treat to put food in your body that's not serving you and that you don't need, that's making you miserable in the long run because your weight is now making you unhappy? How is that a treat?
It feels good in the moment. I just have to satisfy the craving.
Exactly. But then you're looking at instant gratification, right, to take away whatever negative emotion you're feeling at the time, even if it's something simple as boredom. Mm-hmm. And you're choosing that over your long-term goal, your long-term weight loss, your long-term health goal, what you want most in the long term.
And that's, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think we can end the podcast right there. Done. People with it done. No, because I think that's it. It's understanding, like we said, that for every action, there's a reaction. And that reaction might not happen at the time. It might happen later on.
Yeah.
But when you do, maybe if you do like weekly check-ins or whatever, you get to the week and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not losing the weight like I said I would.
Yeah.
But
Well,
go on.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just literally going to say that losing weight is just a series of decisions, right? There's the big decision. I want to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. And then that's just a series of little decisions that all clock up, because you and I both know, right? Success doesn't come from what you do now and again. It comes from what you do consistently.
Amen.
Amen.
You're preaching to the choir here. Gospel here. But like, I think you said something earlier about it being hard, and actually there's nothing wrong with it being hard.
No, oh my goodness. Like, okay, so my partner and two of our mutual friends all ran Tough Mudder on Saturday, and I didn't run Tough Mudder, but I mean, I have in the past. I didn't run it this time. I went up there later and took our 4-year-old because she was going to do Little Mudder, the kids version, when they'd finished, right? And later on, I think the following day, one of the lads that had run it with Quincy, he put something on Instagram, and then his mum shared it, and it was a really cool picture of them standing at the end. We've just run Tough Mudder, the 15K one and the rest of it. And somebody commented on it and just went, why? Like, why would you do that? And I have this myself, when I've run those events in the past, people will go, why? When I say to them, I have a cold shower every morning. Why? That sounds horrible. Why would you do that? Because I do hard things all of the time. Knowing something is hard ahead of time and doing it anyway is how we reach the goals we want to reach, surely. When you shy away from anything that's ever going to be hard, where are you realistically ever going to get in your life? Because that same attitude that got those three around Tough Mudder gets them through other things in life. They are three people who really achieve and do and succeed, versus the people who go, why? Who are probably right now sat on the sofa with their food from their treat cupboard watching Netflix.
I think there's an irony in that, because also these same people will be doing that, but they'll be also going, oh, I love that person. She's gone through so much adversity. I can really identify with that story. Because that's the classic one, isn't it? Some celebrity who's gone through some adversity. Oh, they're amazing. And I'm like, well, you could be amazing too.
Yeah, 100%. It really just comes down to how willing you are to do hard things.
So what's happened? Have we got soft? Or is it our internal stories that hold us back from actually doing those hard things?
Oh, that is a whole new subject there.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's our thoughts around everything, the way we think about things. If I were, for example, to take you're super successful with a really amazing business, changing lives like left, right, and center. Was there a point when you were thinking, shouldn't I set up this business? And you were like, oh yeah, but what if I fail? Yeah, it's going to be really hard. Oh, but I'm going to have to go onto Facebook and Instagram and do lives and things, and everyone's going to laugh at me. And what if it doesn't work? I'm sure you have all of those thoughts and more, and then put them aside and did it anyway.
JFDI.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
And the thing is, when we look at these potential failures that we're so scared of, how many times do you hear someone say, I've got fear of failure, I'm scared of failing?
All the time.
What if you took the word failure away from it and replaced it with the word result? So this isn't a failure, this is a result. I now know that if I do X, Y, and Z, it brings me that. That's not quite what I wanted. So if I go back and change X, Y, and Z to another version of themselves from this position of now knowing this, I'm going to get a whole different result next time. I'd rather clock up 100 failures than sit on my ass doing nothing.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. Like the whole thing, like you watch a baby, and I always love to use this example, and a baby of any animal, and they will fall over, they will do, and then they just get on with stuff.
Yeah.
You watch a lion hunt, right? Sorry, vegans. Sorry.
Vegans have no issues with lions.
I'm teasing,
it's totally cool.
I did it on purpose. But no, like you watch the lion hunt, the lion will fail. The lion or the group, the pride of lions will fail on a hunt more times than not. But they don't go, oh, I think we should give up because,
Yeah, they don't even have that. They don't have the ability to think that.
So yeah, it's our conscious thought then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that conscious thought, that part of what makes us human, that prefrontal cortex, if you like, if you want to be like super scientific about it.
Woo! Check you out. But you must have had the same where you felt like this might be too hard to have a business to help people change their lives. You must have felt the same at sometimes.
Yeah. And I think the driving and most fundamental thought underneath all of that was, I'm not good enough to do it. People won't want me. People don't want to listen to what I have to say on Facebook or Instagram. People don't want to hear, I'm going to put a post out and they're going to be like, oh, why does she think, that we want to listen to that stuff? All just thoughts in my head, and now I realize that what those people think of me is none of my business. And if it's none of my business, why am I letting it stop me doing something? They've got these great things that humans have, which are opposable thumbs. They can unfollow, or they can defriend, or they can just keep scrolling,
True. And like you said, this is the thing that holds so many people back. And then once they kind of get it, they just take off.
Yeah.
But then you have these people just kind of stay in this cycle. So what's that about? Ones who just stay stuck, who kind of moan about maybe their weight or the fact they haven't achieved in their business or whatever. What is it that keeps them stuck?
I think the definition of being stuck has to have happened because someone isn't taking action, right? Because if you're moving in some kind of way, you're not stuck. Mm-hmm. You're maybe trying new things and thinking that didn't work, going back to the 100 failures. Now I know that I'll try this thing. The people I think who are really stuck are not doing anything. And the reason behind not doing anything, I think can be several things, fear of failure. Will it, it's not going to work anyway, so why should I even bother trying? And all of this is like really past focused, and this is again one of the things that we all do all of the time, yet makes no sense, is to make decisions based on our past. But we're not going that way. What we've had in our past is not what we want now. Surely that's why we're trying to change it. We need to look forwards and learn to make decisions from our future, which I know is really super hard because we've never experienced it before. But if you constantly spend your whole life looking backwards, like, you miss out on all these amazing things which are in front of you that you can strive for. I mean, just because you've never had it before, does that mean you won't have it or you can't have it? No, that's insane.
Well, the classic line, I'm sure you've heard this on, and this is, I'm just going to be very honest, this is on where I've had people message me, harass me, stalk me, read my content, watch my videos, reach out and go, I want to have a call. We talk, and then they go, oh, do you know what? I'm actually all right as I am. Really? Really?
Right. So it's not really a question of, do you know what, I've been watching your content for all this time. I've clearly resonated with you. There's clearly something about you that I like, and there's something about you that I think you could help me get what I want. Otherwise, I never would have wasted my time sitting on that call with me. But now it's come to the crunch time, and it's actually, no, I don't want to do it, because now if I sign with you and I sign on the dotted line and I send you over some pounds sterling, now I've got to actually do it.
Oh, money.
A scary thought.
You've got to put some energy into the game, right?
You've got to have skin. Like, if you haven't got any skin in the game, like, where are you ever going to move?
Well, like me and our mutual coach Rich, we were talking about the amount of $27 freebie or like low ticket things I've got in my inbox on my computers and my laptops.
Yeah.
That I never use.
No, but now they've got your email address.
Yeah. Like, I had to set up a new email the other day just to, like, if I want to read something and just understand it, I'll give them the dodgy email address because I can. Yeah.
But that goes back to what we said last time, and that's whether you're going to choose to pay with time or you're going to choose to pay with money. You can pay with money to save time, or you can save money by paying with time. But the thing is, time is the thing that you can't get back. Even if you're completely skint or in debt, you can always earn more money. You can always get more money from somewhere.
One of my favorite clients was someone who said, Greg, I can't afford you, but here's what I'm going to do. Can we reschedule for about 3 months time?
Yeah.
We can have a call because I'm going to go and do it. And you know what? She went and I think she got like another like side hustle. She did a few extra bits. She found some stuff to sell. And you know what? I was like, I thought, wow, no, she's gone. And then she messaged me and said, "Oh, when are we booking that call?" And I was like, "Huh, what?" So I'm ready to go now.
Yeah, I've
And
done it.
yeah, I've done it. And those are the stories we love the most, because they're the people that just become successful because they just get on with stuff. They just find, right, okay, what can I do?
Yeah,
My control.
yeah, exactly. Everything is in your control, you know. External circumstances, sure, those are outside of your control, but there's a way you can think about it. Let's take literally what you've just described right now, right? Greg, my potential coach, said to me, to do my program will cost you X amount of pounds, right? Whatever that number is. Now
Millions.
I can, sorry?
Millions.
Yeah, millions. And I can either think to myself, whoa, that's crazy. I can't possibly afford that money. There's so much more that I could be spending on. I'm not worth spending that money on. I need to think about my mortgage and kids first and all the rest of it. Or you could think, do you know what? I actually need this. Nothing I've done so far has worked. This is something that I really need for myself and arguably for my children as well, because I need to be healthier and be around for longer. Yeah, it's going to really stretch me to get it, but I could actually do that if I put my mind to it. You know, and there's two completely different thought processes.
Well, I think it's actually quite empowering, because like when I remember going to speak to my son and saying, "Son, you're not getting a Christmas present." He was like, my son doesn't care. He's like, "Oh, okay, Dad, as long as you're all right." And I
Yeah.
said, "Because I've invested in coaching."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, that's awesome, Dad. Like, let's do it. Like, go do it. Like, don't mess it up," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there, like you say, there's two choices. Like, Christmas is a big thing, for example, for a lot of people. For me, it's not a big thing. I don't really give a damn about Christmas, but I can see how people, "Oh my God, it's Christmas. I have to have Christmas for kids. I have to. I have to."
Yeah.
When actually that could have been invested in coaching or paying off something or whatever, just because they're doing it to kind of fit in with everybody else.
It goes back to instant gratification over long-term gains, you know, long-term goals, and which one you want most.
Yeah, I think we also get scared of like not fitting in with the crowd, right?
Oh God, yeah, of course, because if you don't fit in, you die. That's the old, you know, the most primitive part of our brain that says, you know, the outsider has no chance. And
Yep.
it's still there, you know, that primitive brain is still very much there, speaking to us, sabotaging us left, right, and center. But if I don't fit in with the crowd, I'm therefore an outsider. That makes me vulnerable. That's where that thought process comes from. You know, most people don't like to be separate. Had a client recently who was chosen by her company to host this big awards evening they were having, which is an incredible thing to be asked to do, because she was picked on her ability and her personality, and that she was so deserving. And then she's thinking, oh my God, I've got to stand up on this podium with a microphone and speak to all these people who are all down there, and I'm up here and I'm the one they're all looking at. And I said to her, it's because you are now so separate. Now that you're feeling vulnerable, that's why you feel scared of it. And she was like, oh my goodness, but that's so ridiculous. And I said to her, what's the worst thing that can happen? And she went, well, the worst thing that can happen is I trip over, I say the wrong thing, everyone laughs at me. So worst case scenario, how bad actually is that? And she was like, it's really not, you know.
Well, if this helps anybody listening back to this, recently I saw a video of George Bush talking about Russia and all that stuff, and he went, "Yeah, it's the actions of one man, a dictator, you know, making all these decisions about bombing and invading one country, you know, that's so helpless, like Iraq." And then he went, "Oh, sugar. I mean, Ukraine. Oh, I'm 75 years old. I can't remember." So, like, remember your George Bush moment if you ever get stuck with speaking, because you could do a George Bush. He got away with it somehow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. But do you know what? I mean, oh my goodness, I can't think about the number of times I don't know, done a Facebook Live or something else, or I've been stood up in front of my clients doing a workshop and I've said something ridiculous, or I've got my words muddled, and, you know, but ultimately I'm human, you know, nobody particularly cares.
Yeah, after a while, everyone forgets it, right? No one really notices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, amount of times I put, if I do a live, right, I'll stick the words on the side so I can remember what I'm talking about.
Do you? Yeah, it's
10
a good
minutes
idea.
later, I'm talking about a completely different thing.
Yeah. But you know what, when it gets to that like really organic stuff where you're really tapping into your heart and soul, and that's the stuff that you can't pre-script or that you don't pre-script, that's the gold, I think. Where all of a sudden it doesn't matter, and that's when it can really matter.
Yeah.
And I used to find, here's a confession for you, right? I'm gonna give you, it's so embarrassing,
Okay.
but I'm gonna tell you anyway. When I first started doing Facebook Lives, I would set the privacy to only me, right? So no one was going to see it. I'd do the Facebook Live, post it so nobody could see it if I'd cocked it up. And then I would change the privacy to public once I'd done it. Right. That's what I used to do with my Facebook Lives. And so a little part of me was like, why are you rehearsing this so much? Just get on there and say the thing that you need to say. And people will either like it or they won't. And either way is completely fine, because I can't change what they think and feel. That's their business, And now it's just, I can't believe that ever bothered me as much as it did, but it did.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure I've done similar stuff. Like I've recorded the video before I posted it. And then after a while, it just got to the point where I could go live now and just talk about anything. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't that a bit like nutrition and health and looking after yourself? Like you eat really well for a week, and then you have a day where you eat too many calories, or you just eat too much food, whatever. But after that gets less and less and just becomes habit. And that's what people need to worry about more.
Definitely. Yeah. 100%. And I think that it comes down to all those accumulations of all those little decisions, and if you do have a cock up, well then, learn what you can from it and then draw a line under the sand. So for example, okay, I overate last night because I had a cold and I was feeling terrible, and I went for the comfort food because I was feeling like shit. Then that next time you have a cold, you can foresee that happening and see if there's a way that you might want to play it differently, And as long as you do everything from that place of, I know it sounds all like woo, but as long as you do everything from that place of self-love, self-respect, nothing's done from a place of judgment or punishment ever, you really can't go wrong, I don't think. When you restrict because you have your best interests at heart, because you're worth doing it for, because you love your body now, even though it's, I don't know, let's just pick a number and use it. Even though right now I'm a size 18 and I want to be a 12, right? I can still very much love my body at a size 18. It's still completely worthy of doing this for, and I'm doing this because I love myself and because I want to do the best thing for myself. Not I hate my body the way it is and I'll love it once I'm a 12. No. You got to love it right now, right? And that's why you're going to the gym, or you're power walking up the hill carrying a pair of dumbbells if that's what you do, or that's why you're going out for a run, because you're doing it because you're worth doing all of those things for.
So
rather than hating yourself all the way around.
That's perfect, because I think this is a really good point. It's like how do you do it with your clients? About how do you get them to get that self-love and self-appreciation? Because that's ultimately the biggest thing that my clients come to me with, is not that they need to lose weight. They need to decide that they're important enough to eat well, exercise, sleep well, do the things in their life that they want to do. That's what we do. I don't think we really do nutrition, and it's like that much of my work.
But you know what? I think so many people think they've got these really negative thoughts about themselves, right? They've got so say factually they're a size 18, right? Just to pick, or they weigh X number, right? And when they think those really horrible negative things about themselves, those words that sound really harsh when you hear them from the outside, when you think those things, sometimes I think people make the mistake of thinking that thinking all those negative things about them are what is going to drive them to do something about it. I've never once seen this happen. I've never once seen somebody successfully lose weight, get healthier, get this great relationship with food, themselves, their body, their life, and all these things that we actually want from a place of negativity, from a place of thinking badly about yourself. It never happens. When you think, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I hate myself, my body's disgusting. And these aren't my words. These are words that people say to me all the time. Like, my body is gross. I'm really embarrassed. I'm disgusting. I've heard people say this to me. This is not me like making this stuff up. that makes them feel embarrassed, resentful, they feel shame, they feel underconfident, they feel all of these really negative emotions. And when you feel those negative emotions, you can't take positive action from there. It just doesn't happen. When you feel like that, that's when you overeat, don't bother going for your walk because what's not going to make any difference anyway, and I'm not worth it, and I can't do this. And that just leads you to be in the same place that you've always been, and nothing ever changes, or worse, gets worse, you know? But so if you were to switch your thinking, rather than thinking, you know, my body is fat, my body is gross, my, you know, my body is embarrassing and disgusting and all of those things, if you can think, okay, I have a body that weighs this, but I love it enough to be able to do something about it, you know, and I'm worth doing this for, and I'm worth the time, and I'm worth the investment, then that's going to help you to feel motivated, confident, passionate, you know, all those things that we want to be feeling, that are going to get you to walk through the door of the gym, or they're going to get you to get your trainers on and go out for a walk with the dog, or whatever it is that is getting you up and moving. And that's the thing that's going to move your journey forward. Literally everything starts with the way we think.
So you said something earlier in the podcast about this is a little bit woo, but I think we need to drop that, because I think we've invested enough time and energy in ourselves to go, we understand that what goes on up in here dictates everything.
Yeah.
And affirmations and how you talk to yourself is like the magic source. It's like mindset on steroids.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, but you got to put the reps in, and I
Yeah.
think that's the problem. People expect because they're going to get this big dose of motivation, like, yeah, I'm going to do it and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's a bit like a rocket. It kind of just goes up and then it just
Yeah.
So it's actually how you talk to yourself that actually gets the results.
Yeah. It's identifying the thought errors and then looking for positive, high quality thoughts, empowering thoughts that are really going to serve you, and then committing to thinking them and practicing thinking them all the time, you know? And even if there's a point whereby that positive thought is so far in advance that you can't even reach, it's just not believable. Because if someone was to think for themselves, my body is fat and disgusting and I hate it, thinking to themselves, my body is wonderful and worthy, might be too much of a stretch.
Yep.
So there's pointless then saying it if you don't really believe it. So then just take the negative out. Rather than saying, I have a body that's fat and gross and disgusting, I have a body.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move forward with that, you know, because that's fact.
Yeah. And I can take it for a walk today. Done.
Yeah. I can take it for a walk today. Do you know what? Maybe I'll listen to Greg's podcast while I'm walking, you know, because what would make the experience more enjoyable than that?
Listen to
Maybe I can use it to catch up on, you know, listen to a podcast or an audiobook, or maybe this is the 1/2 hour, 45 minutes of silence that I get today.
I think people are afraid of silence.
Yeah, it's exactly why they don't like being bored.
Yeah, it's like boredom what is boredom? Like, I'm sure there's a dictionary definition, but boredom actually only exists because you create in your mind.
Yeah. And we're taught from a young age that boredom is bad. You know, you know, kids who don't want the kids to be bored, or the kids are a nightmare when they're bored. And yes, like children are different because obviously they are emotionally immature because they're children. But to be bored as an adult, I think that the issue with being bored is that your thoughts come to the fore.
Yeah, thoughts and feelings. This is why people walk into a room and they turn the music on straight away, or they turn the TV on straight away. And they're like, are you watching it? Oh no, I just need to have background noise.
Yeah. But like, what's wrong with sitting and keeping yourself company? What's wrong with sitting and observing your own thoughts and figuring out what's going on in your own head?
Well, it's that old adage, right, of if you keep doing the things that you're doing and you're getting the same results, but you're doing different, then you're going a bit insane, right?
Yeah. Well, definition of insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and the same goes back to your thinking. If you're thinking those same thoughts over and over and over and over again and wondering why you're not moving forwards, then you need to address the way you're thinking, my friend, you know?
A to the men. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you know, we could go on forever with this stuff. Like, I'm sitting again. It's episode 3, maybe. Yeah, I think we could do it.
Maybe we should pick a subject, and that'll be like episode 3, and we'll just like hash it out for a whole hour, and then we'll do the next one. And I know being vegan is going to come up at some point, so we might as well just address that bad boy.
I'm not thinking. I have no issue with vegans at all. Like,
Oh no, I'm not from that point of view, but because it's a really interesting thing to talk about.
should we? Okay, well, maybe the next one could just be, let's just talk about diets, inverted commas, I hate the word, or ways of eating, and we can jump into the veganism thing, because I think, yeah, it's definitely an interesting area. Like, yes, definitely. I'm not even going to go there now because I have power and stuff, and you got stuff to do, I got stuff to do. But thank you very much. This has been awesome. Part 2. This has been ace. I love this.
Yeah, part 2.
All right, so we're gonna do a part 3, yeah?
Can't wait for part 3.
Oh Lord. Okay, cool. This is gonna be messy. Yeah, maybe we should do like do you know, I had a thought there, but I don't know if I should express it.
Go on.
Threesome.
Who are you thinking?
Chrissy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's amazing.
That could be interesting. Well, let me see if we can hook it up for the listeners. I think they'd enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 2 vegans and a black guy. That'd be
funny. I mean, it's the start. It's the start of some kind of new joke, isn't it?
Oh my Lord! Can you imagine Rich?
2 vegans and a black guy walk into a pub.
walk into a podcast.
Yeah. Well, there's your title.
There we go. That's the title. Okay, let's see if we can hook this up. That would be awesome, I think. And I know hopefully you're going to have a podcast soon. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Podcast soon. Yeah.
Some source. Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Okay. Cool. So we're going to do this for the listeners. But thank you again for just like dropping some absolute bombs. Absolute, just So this is why we can talk about this stuff forever, because you care about it so passionately. I know you're good at your stuff. I know you change women's lives. So
thank you. As do you.
I do my bit.
Take the praise, Greg. Take the praise.
There you go. You found my kryptonite. It's taking praise. I hate it. I was just like so bad at it. It's something I know I need to work on.
Why are you so bad at taking praise?
I don't know, actually. I don't think I explore it enough. I'll be honest.
So if I was to say to you, Greg, you're amazing at what you do, what do you think immediately?
Is your audio okay?
That's deflection in its
I know it was
in its highest degree.
No, here we go. On the podcast, I'm getting coached, people. So I think it's like an uncomfortableness. That's the feeling that comes up.
But what do you think? Because there's a thought that's made you feel uncomfortable, and that's the thought that you might have to dig for.
Stay humble. That's the thought that comes up.
I should stay humble.
Or do I deserve the praise?
There we go. So I'm going to get you to answer that question. Rather than say, do I deserve the praise? Give me either I do or I don't.
Okay. No, I do. Now that I can think about it rationally.
Okay. So what was your immediate thought that made you feel uncomfortable?
I don't deserve the praise.
So there's a circumstance that you have no control over. Mm-hmm. Hannah gave me a compliment and Hannah said, you change women's lives. Mm-hmm. You thought to yourself, I don't deserve that praise. That made you feel uncomfortable. That made you deflect.
Yep. That's me.
There we go.
There we go. Boom.
So if you didn't want to deflect, how would you have to feel rather than uncomfortable?
Just comfortable and accepting, should I say? Accepting.
So in order for you to feel accepting, what would you have to think instead of I don't deserve the praise?
You got me. Yeah, that's the shit I do.
Yeah, I'm good at what I do. Yeah. Much better thought, right?
Much better thought. No, it does feel much better.
It's a much more high quality, empowering thought.
Yeah. And I'm trying to be more high quality. So that makes sense. I think that's a perfect moment for people to listen to back, because that's powerful right there. Yeah.
But doesn't it just go to show, right, that even the best coaches in the world, which of course you are one of, have to do this thought work also. We have to work on ourselves all of the time.
Reps,
you know, and there is a direct correlation between how successful a person is whether that's in the gym, whether that's with their weight loss, whether that's with their body, or whether that's with their business, there's a direct correlation between that level of success and the way they think.
Might drop. Perfect. No, I think you're wholly right on that one. That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so we need to do that bit.
Tell you what, here's I'm going to issue a challenge for you, Greg, and you can do the same back to me.
Okay,
right?
let's go.
Here we go. Greg's thinking, why did I ever invite Hannah on my podcast?
Why are you going on my podcast? Go on, shoot.
Let's have an episode, right, where we unpick Greg's head.
All right, let's do that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
And you feel free to dig into mine right back.
All right, cool. We'll do a vice versa. We'll do one episode for you, one for me. Done.
We'll do that as proof that we do this and we go through this process ourselves as well.
Oh, do you know what? We could even stream that live as well.
We could stream that live.
Stream that.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally, both of us in our absolute humanity, open for the world.
I like the sound of that. Cool. Let's do it. I think that will help people understand and see that, yeah, we go through this stuff.
Yeah.
We're really asking to see what we do.
Because you know what? As a trainer, as a PT, as a fitness and health and nutrition coach, do you ever ask anyone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself?
Hell to the no.
Same.
Even burpees. Oh,
even burpees. It's like when people go, oh, but they're so terrible. What, like I don't know that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm aware I've done more burpees than you've had hot dinners, mate.
They're banned with my clients. I'm like, no, you're not doing burpees. You don't have to do that.
But the point is, like, we would never set someone up with something to do or ask someone to do something else if we weren't willing to do it ourselves straight away. Look at that day that we all got in the North Sea with Rich. Was Rich in there with us, or was he not?
Yeah, he was there.
He was in there. Yeah,
yeah,
100%. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Let's do this. So, ladies, if you're listening, and I know there's a few gents that listen, share this with your friends and family. I think this has been an awesome episode. And look out for part 3, which will get scheduled ASAP. I'll drop links to Hannah's stuff so you can find out about her badassery on that episode.
Oh, there's a new episode, How to Be a Badass.
How to Be a Badass. There you go.
There you go. That's the next one, where we unpick the brains and show everyone there and then how to be a badass.
Oh, live coaching. That's going to be...
I'm so excited.
All right. Let's sort this out now. People, catch you on the next episode. Talk soon. Bye.